right, Aquarians, welcome to September. So we are going to dive into the monthly reading for you all and see what comes up, any information, guidance that can best help you for the month. So we are closing out the summer, starting the fall here in the Northern Hemisphere. I guess in the southern, you're kind of closing out the winter. So we are in Virgo season. The sun is in Virgo. So the monthly themes and reflections for this month are health, organization, and service. So those are the things to reflect on this month, to focus on. How can we find balance in those areas, whether you are on one end of the spectrum or the other? Especially a big one that's been coming up for a lot of people I've seen is that health piece. Health seems to be a big focus lately. And I think what it's telling us is it's the universal energies are if we've been living in some sort of detriment, imbalance, disharmony, if we really haven't found integration of any sort of emotions, trauma, that we just never worked through, integrated that, allowed ourselves to experience, to feel, to flow, to acknowledge, to surrender to it, that's going to affect our health. So that's a big one that's been coming up. So definitely a time before we move into the colder seasons to really strengthen yourself by addressing the root, which the root is always some emotional aspect or some either emotional or just a way of living, for example, stubbornness, a real stubbornness and unwillingness to be flexible or to allow in other people's ways of doing things or thoughts. I mean, that has a direct correlation to the knees. So if you have knee issues, there's that kind of root metaphysical reason of stubbornness or just an inability to change or wanting things to stay the same and really being that hardcore, that impacts the knees. So we may have knees issues. So it runs the gamut. Something I always, if you're looking to find metaphysical reasons for your health issues, Louise Hayes has a great book around that, so would recommend that. You can also Google it. But anyway, so that's a big thing for this month that I wanted to call out. I feel like the readings have been all over the place, but Aquarians, you're kind of in, I would say you're in kind of the first third of my readings, but you're on that tail end. So let's go ahead and see what's going on for you all for September. So I am already starting the fall Halloween theme, so I got my Halloween cards out for you all. But the first one out is Mummy, Change. Okay. And then Ghost, Regret. So there has been some change in your life, I feel, recently, or you're going through a change in your life. I do feel like there's some regrets about how it went down, or maybe you should have did it a different way. For some reason, too, I'm also feeling maybe you rushed into something too fast. It's not that maybe you regretted doing something, but you feel like you did it too soon, which has an impact somehow. But there's definitely some regrets. For for another group of you, it's coming up this, this is the Ghost card. I feel like there's some ghosts of the past that still haunt you. And you haven't fully been able to kind of release those or to overcome those. But there is something about you're in the midst of change right now. And there's something that's internally you're being called to really face at this time. All right, I'm going to pull a couple of these moon oracles. So balance, I just heard when I pulled this card, this is, there's a give and take here. So whatever that resonates for you, it's not all about someone taking and taking or you giving in to whatever they want. I also feel like there's something about balance and harmony here that needs to be addressed. Unity and Fairytale. Whose fairy tale are you living, Aquarius? Is this your ultimate fairy tale? Or, you know, maybe there's aspects of this that fit into like, no, you know, this is what I've wanted. But there's something about going along to get along here with this unity card and all these people. It's like there's a lot of the individuals in this card here, and they're all kind of hand in hand, but it takes some sort of balance and harmony to ensure the harmony of the group. And sometimes I just am leaning more towards someone is, maybe you're avoiding conflict or avoiding facing some sort of something that maybe isn't what you ultimately want, to get along, to coexist, to ensure there's no conflict here. There's something here. I feel like this is kind of a theme for you, Aquarius, the last couple of months. But maybe because, let's see if I can, I'm going to just read the Fairytale card here. All right. Create and live your own fairy tale by following your dreams. Slip it down into the rabbit hole of enchantment and wonder. Dream the impossible and draw joy into your life. Live in that moment for a spell and you soak in the glory. Become lost in the stardust and moon glow. Be the author of your own story. Make each moment an experience unforgettable moments. Write the pages and chapters in which your soul deserves to have a happily ever after. Yeah, Aquarians, I do believe that you deserve this happily ever after, this fairy tale. So I do feel like there's something here about like making sure that you're not giving in to everybody else. And then what you're doing is you're overlooking what you really want. What is your dream? What is your desires? You spend a lot of time helping and supporting everyone else in their dreams and their desires. But I feel like a lot of what really has been the source of why you do the things you do is more for other people and not yourself. It could also be about how you look as well, the image you portray out there as well. And there's a balance here of supporting other people, giving in, people, you know, wanting certain things and you doing what you can to make sure they get that, to coexist here. But I think there's a theme here for the month of really you focusing on yourself now and see what it is you really want. Because I do feel like there's some sort of change either in the midst, either you're about to go through a change or you've been going through a change. All right. Let's see. Page of Swords. What are you being cautious about right now? It's almost like you're moving forward into something, but you're cautious. You're not sure. You're uncertain about this. And this could be maybe you've bought into what someone else wants, but you're not 100% sold into this. Four of Pentacles. Yeah, there's some holding back here. There's some holding back. There is potentially a focus on like stability here, like wanting something to be a little bit more stable before you move forward. Ace of Pentacles, Seven of Cups, the High Priestess, oops, and the Six of Cups. So there's definitely, this is interesting. This came up too in the Capricorn reading, so you may want to check that reading out well as well if you're tied to a Capricorn. But there's something about something from the past coming up. And it kind of is triggering some emotions of regret for you, of like a situation you went through and you kind of regret how you did something or didn't do. But there is a change here that you're looking to make. But there's something, you know, Aquarian, there's something that your intuition is really being loud about. And I feel like that's why you're being cautious and holding back here. But I think you know. There's something you really know inside about, you know, again, not rushing into something or making sure things are more stable. And I think that's a good thing, actually. I think sometimes there's, you know, this can be more of a negative of like always needing things, you know, it's like we're always needing something to feel stable, but, you know, life isn't, you know, the core energy of life is not stable. It's always changing here. But I think in this situation, I do think, I think you really need to hone in on what you want. And I think your intuition is guiding you towards this here. But there's something about the past. Let's keep going and see what else pops up. Okay, the Devil. Three of Wands. Yeah, there's there's some fear here and apprehension about so there's this like waiting on something because there's some fear. There's definitely apprehension, there's caution here. Like, it's like you're not like, no, I'm not going to do this, but you're definitely like, hey, let's proceed. Just, you know, again, cautiously, let's not rush into anything. That's the sort of thing I'm getting here. Four of Swords. You definitely want to like wait on something here. Like there's this energy of like non-action, of waiting, of and it's definitely something, it's like you want this, but there's other factors going on right now that's like, you feel like it's just not just right now. Like the timing's not right. Three of Cups, the Lovers, and the Nine of Swords. Yeah, there's some worry and anxiety about this. And there's definitely at the core of this reading is the Lovers, which to me, the core of this is making some sort of decision about a major life change. And I do feel like you're getting some sort of, there's other people involved in this that are affecting, like, that are also seem to try and, there's people around you that are also want you to do this or trying to get you to do this, or like, yay, this is, you know, like, do this, this is great. But it's like, you're like, wait a minute, you know, there's definitely some anxiety. You're not ready. And you have to really, don't dismiss yourself here. Okay. And ultimately, I feel like maybe this is also telling you something else. Because maybe it's something that you want, but maybe this isn't the right time, or this isn't the right scenario for this. Ten of Swords, the Fool, Six of Swords. So look at all these swords on this side. So this is going to really move you, and this is really going to go in, you're going to be in your head a lot about this. But something, either something recently ended, or you're looking to end something, because something ends here and then it's like the Fool, like something very, you just ended this and are like, this is like taking a risk. You know, this is like jumping off the cliff. And I feel like you don't necessarily 100% know the next, what's next here, but you're kind of like, the Fool energy of like, I'm starting this new path, starting something new here. And maybe that's also what's kind of where you're in your head about, is like, okay, maybe there's too many changes happening. Maybe you're wanting to make a big change in your life, but yet you have other people that are trying to get you to also make some changes or do something. So I think there's a lot going on here. But I do like the Six of Swords, because I do feel like you are going to move forward in a good direction, but I think you need to steer the ship here. So look at here in this card. You have, what's interesting is it reminds me of the Death card a bit. It's like death is moving you forward. So this could also be like a major change happen that's going to be the kind of the fuel that really moves you forward to a better place. And maybe something does have to end first. But I just feel, I hear like you need to steer the ship. Like, don't just keep giving in to everybody else. But you're also trying to make a change, and there's just a lot going on here. And I just feel like, there's been a lot going on for you, but I feel like it more has to do with everyone else around you and them, and it's time for you to focus on what you want. And if your need to make some changes first to feel stable before you do something else, then I think the cards are saying that you need to do that. So what's the Devil, Three of Swords? This is almost to me like people are in your ear, like the devil on your shoulder, which I think is other people around you. This could be family. This could be friends. It could be a partner. But there's like multiple people here that are kind of like, they're already, in some weird way, it's like they're already celebrating something that you're like, whoa, 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 I'm not 100% bought into this yet. Ooh, I got cards flying everywhere. So what's the devil in this Three of Cups? Interesting. So we have the Page of Wands in reverse. Two things here. The first thing that popped in my head is, because the pages can reference children. So, I almost heard that, like, that people, like, there's something about not, maybe there's a aspect of this that is tied to children that you're like, you're having anxiety about this. And for some reason, this example, like, oh, someone's like, I want 3 kids, I want 6 kids. And you're like, whoa, like, you're just like, that's totally not what you want. And maybe you did want kids, but you're like, whoa, I'm not, and they're like only willing to accept like, that many kids. And you're like, well, I just wanted like 1 or 2. But also this could be about like having kids now, and you're like, whoa, 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 like, I'm not ready right now. What's the Ten of Swords? Queen of Pentacles. Page of Cups. You could have to really put your foot down here, and it's almost like I feel like this Queen of Pentacles wants something, and you have to almost like shut her down, or him, or whoever this Queen of Pentacles is. But you almost have to, like, something had to end. Or, it's like they have an offer here that you're just like, no, I'm not, that's not what I want to do. So what's the Nine of Swords about? The World. And the Page of Pentacles. Yeah, so you're worried about, I'm hearing like you're worried about how this unfolds in the future. Like, again, there's there's something about a big change, or just like change is happening, and it's like there's a lot of like new beginnings, but there also is endings happening, and I think you're like in your head about this, about ending something. It just, there seems to be a lot going on. This could be about money. But there's something here too about what the Page of Pentacles can be about, just like wisdom. Like, you know, be wise about the choices you make. Don't just like willy-nilly, like, I want this and I want this, and I just met you, but let's have a kid and let's get married or something. There's just a weird worry and anxiety about endings and new beginnings, but also about, did someone learn the lesson, or is there value in this? There's just, it's too, I'm also getting there's people that have all these ideas, and it's like, I just don't think they're good ideas for you. There's a lot coming in at you from different kind of people, and I just think there's like, it gets overwhelming, and you kind of shut down here because you need to figure out for yourself. And just because everyone else wants it just doesn't mean it's good for you. So what's the Six of Cups? What's the past thing about here? Nine of Pentacles and the Wheel. I feel like there is some, going back to the regret card, I feel like there was a time potentially when you were single, but there is this like talking about this nostalgia about maybe there was something that you wish you would have done. Maybe, there's all this change that's happened, and you look back and think, whoa, like, maybe there's this, like, I miss that period of time. But, or I wish I would have gotten a better place or something, maybe in a job or money-wise. But interesting enough, the Wheel is here. So it's like, there's some divine timing to this. It's kind of almost like the timing was good and bad. And it's like, maybe you waited for something, and then now that you got it, there's a little bit of overwhelm here, and of like, oh yeah, maybe I was being too impatient, impulsive or something. Let's see, what's the regret? Death. Ace of Cups. And the Six of Pentacles. Yes, you do regret some sort of ending that happened in the past. It probably was tied to love or your emotions. Like maybe you went through a really difficult emotional time. And there's this essence of like the give and take here, of like the balance of relationships, and like what does it mean to have, some sort of equitable exchange where it's not just always about somebody else. But there is something regretful about this. Like you're looking back and thinking, maybe I should have given more, or shown my true emotions about the situation. And now it's, for some reason, that's impacting you right now. But you're holding back in some sense. And there's fear and anxiety about this. Yeah, this is interesting. Aquarians, whoa, September, it seems like there's a lot going on. It could have been, there's been a lot going on for you. There could have been some significance with June. And since June, there's just, it's kind of been like, this has kind of been going on for you, and it still is in September. But I think the guidance here is really to get out of this. There's just too much going on. I think you need to step back. I think you need to call a timeout and just kind of take some time to assess what it is. What's your fairy tale here? What is it that you really want? What makes sense for you? I just feel like this is a time before you do something or buy into something or make the next change. I think you really need to do some self-reflection here and really dive deep, because I think your intuition is telling you something here with the High Priestess. So I'm gonna get one for the High Priestess here, and I'm gonna just grab another deck. What is it that your higher self is telling you? What's the High Priestess about? Ooh. 3 of Pentacles, Queen of Cups. Look at that, 6 of Cups again. Yeah. I feel like you still have some emotions tied to the past. This could be around a third-party situation. There was actually like a third party, there was like a love triangle, but this could also be like this could be just a trauma wound that's always been a block when it comes to your, you've had emotional blocks, and it's from something that happened in the past, but I feel like you need to deal with this. There's a sense of, it could be around father issues here. But there's something to really assess here, because I think you're going down a path where you're making decisions based on a trauma. There could be someone in your life that's kind of a karmic trauma bond here. And I feel like if you go any deeper with them, it's again, I feel like you're intuitively hitting like red flags right now that are telling you like, wait, stop. So I would definitely listen to that. Yeah, this is some, you need to make sure and work through this right now, because I do feel like there's a lot of patterns and dynamics that are really reflecting this trauma. And there's something about that give and take here. And I think you need to work to release this before you move on to the next change or whatever this thing is. I know it's kind of vague, but whatever this change is, it could be anything for a lot of you, but I do feel like you're going through a change, or someone's wanting you to go through buy into a big change. But I guess you'll have to wait and see. So let me know in the comments if you're like, yep, this is what I'm going through. Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for joining in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and have a good September, and I will see you in the next reading.